Hi, welcome. This is a place where together we walk through life after the death of a loved one. I am Theodora, and today I'll be talking about quitting self-pity as one of the ways that help me overcome grief. After you have lost your loved one, there is just so many things that come to play. You're first scared, you're in a point whereby you wonder how will things go on without so-and-so. For instance, for me, in my case, it was my dad, or it could be your spouse or your child. You just wonder, how will life go on without this person in the picture? And sometimes after trying a few things without them, you may fail, which is depressing and discouraging. And self-pity will kick in, will now remind you, oh, you know what, without this person you cannot do it, for you're now a widow, without your husband you cannot stand, for you're now an orphan, hey, without your dad or without your mother you are finished. Self-pity, it makes you look down on yourself, it makes you kill your purpose in life. It makes you just kill off that light that you had in you. So I don't know which level you're in, and grief or self-pity has also kicked in for you like it did before for me. I don't know. But I want to tell you that self-pity, if it's starting, it's something you should pay attention to it and silence it before it gets to a point that makes you lose opportunities like I did. I had lived with self-pity for a very long time. I can't remember how many years I'd lived with it. But I want to say that by the grace of God, I have overcome it. I always pitied myself. I always saw myself as an orphan, which is true. I was an orphan and I am still an orphan. But I looked at myself as an orphan who is struggling through life, who always thought that maybe the presence of my dad would have done things differently, and now that he's not around, I will be struggling with life. And it also pushed me to places whereby I would share my story with the few people that I shared with, looking for sympathy. It's nice for people to be kind and gentle, not that people shouldn't be kind and loving to you when you lose your person, but it becomes self-sabotage when you use self-pity against other people. For me, this is how it was. I would try to tell my story looking for sympathy, looking for people to say, oh, sorry, so that if there was help, they can help very fast. Yes, that's how embarrassing it is when I speak it out loud. But that is how bad self-pity can degrade you. So it's something that has to be dealt with, as you experiencing it trying to come out. Shut it down immediately. It's not something that you should allow to grow. Self-pity took me to a point whereby I looked at myself like I did not deserve more. I did not deserve better. It took me to a point of being content with little. It put me to a point that it hindered me from seeking out great opportunities. It always held me bondage. It sort of made me think that I cannot pass certain limits. And there was a real painful experience that happened to me. I had worked on something so hard, and at the time when it materialized, when I was supposed to have it, it was handed over to someone else. And because self-pity had come in, it had given me low esteem, it killed my voice, I couldn't speak. I was it had given me a standard, you cannot rise above this, you always have to be there. So I missed the opportunity. It was so heartbreaking. I struggled through it silently. But then I thank God that He brought me to a point that at this time, at this moment in my life, I do not want anything to do with self-pity, no. Or if I am to take credit, I take credit for what I have earned, what I have worked for. That being an orphan, or for you it could be being a widow, or you've lost your child or lost your loved one, shouldn't be the reason that you fail to progress in life. For me, it hindered me so badly. That's why there's so many things that I've learned through the grief journey I went through, that I'm sharing, and I hope that someone doesn't have to end up there. Someone doesn't have to walk down that road. That if you're at the start of your grief journey, you can be able to recognize this and know that no, that is something that will destroy you. It doesn't mean that you should bottle up the feelings that you have, but you should be able to understand that you need to walk through healing, and you shouldn't allow certain things grow in your life. Self-pity, it made me lose focus. It made me lose purpose for my life, that I always had to seek other people to give me purpose for my life. You can imagine how that is terrible. And ironically, those people didn't care or didn't want to know. And as you're here still struggling and trying to get purpose from another person's life, they don't care. And they'll not care anyhow. So what I'm trying to say is that self-pity is not something to hold on to. Grief will bring all sorts of emotions. I may not be able to point out all of them because we go through so many different things. But what it will bring will be self-pity, to always make you think that you are less who you are without this person. You always give yourself extra reasons why you cannot do certain things. It's because of either this person is not in the picture. And it will make you miss great opportunities, because it will shape your kind of personality. It will hold your tongue at the time when you're supposed to say no, or at the time you're supposed to say yes. Self-pity will lead you to making bad decisions, because it makes you unconsciously or subconsciously think that everyone else, as long as they know you are an orphan, is treating you with sympathy. No, that is a big lie. You may be doing funny stuff and you're like, okay, they know I am an orphan. That you'll have at the back of your mind, but the other people will not care about it. They'll not care. You'll say that, okay, I am a widow. And you keep doing whatever you're doing, and you think the other people will treat you with a certain kind of love and different holding because you are a widow, an orphan, a widower. They will not. To be sincere, they will care less. So you have to come to a point of realization, self-reflection about the feelings and the things, or just to reflect on how you go about your things. And if you can identify a few of these things, just know that self-pity is trying to creep into your life, and uproot it as fast as you can. Self-pity can transform you into a beggar, because it makes you lazy. For some people, I don't know, for some people it may work, it may not work for you, but it makes you lazy because you're always reaching out to people. You're always reaching out, you're always seeking out help, and it will kill your abilities of developing yourself, because you're always reaching out for people to help you out, for people to bail you out. God was so faithful, and He helped me realize some of these things, and I had to deal with it. And it was also through walking through the spiritual journey that a lot of things in my life had to change, including how I looked at myself. Because I didn't have an identity, I wore several identities of grief. I don't know, how can I say, grief branches. There is here self-pity, you don't know who you are, so because you don't know who you are, you act in a very funny way that ends up ruining your purpose, ruining your future, and in everything. Some of these words may come out strong. You may actually say that, hey, I came here to find healing, soft landing, or a place to where I can weep in peace, but the way this girl is speaking, she's not really kind. But I'm telling you, my dear, if I'd had some of these words earlier on, I wouldn't have gone the path that I went to.